Okay, so you should see a little notification there. All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for showing up to our National Training Fund webinar. I think this is almost our 10th one. A lot of great engagement and good content and conversations. I think this is the most people we've had here. So I hope you guys are finding value in this. And if there's something that we can do differently to make it better, please let us know. We're going to get Lee Worley is going to give us an update on stuff. We've got a bunch of stuff happening this year. He's going to go over some things. We've got Maddi Stevens from Link Union going to give us a rundown on the app and what's new there. I'm going to talk about the fire that is mass timber right now, no pun intended. It's kind of taken the nation by storm. We got a lot of locals that are interested in that. And then we'll hear the National Training Fund updates and reports from Jason and Michael Sampson. Brian Tannehill couldn't be here today. He's actually traveling, but he was pretty light on a report, so that's fine. Okay, so with that, we'll turn it over to Lee for Apprenticeship Department update.
Great, thank you, James. Good morning and or afternoon, everybody. Just a quick 4 bullet points I have before I turn it back over to James and Linked Union and the rest of the agenda. I sent out a listserv message this morning, reminding everybody that June 1st is our deadline for the annual instructor conference registration. So if you have not signed up for anybody for any reason or need more information, check your listserv messages for that. The apprenticeship competition deadline and your business managers and district council presidents were notified. The registration deadline, I believe it's like mid-August. Or is it? Yeah, mid-August, something like that. So get those competitors to me or remind your business manager and or district council president that information for your competitor. And please, I'm hoping everybody will be at the apprenticeship coordinator meeting, even if you do not have a competitor in the contest. Also, that we will be adding, as part of the rigging portion, the rigging hand signals will be part of the exam this year. I think I've talked about that in earlier webinars, so just passing that forward. I want to continue to thank everybody who has achieved that WPQ1 endorsement. We're still getting, Jason's getting every month or every week regarding people who've taken the test and have passed and getting that endorsement. Again, that's extremely important that our training centers have qualified people to give exams, the procedure exams. So continue to go down that road as needed. Have any information on that, get a hold of Jason. And then lastly, every once in a while, I'll send you information through listserv on some vendor. It's just information only. We do not endorse any vendor in particular. I'll give you an example. If I send that information from Lincoln Electric, it's just an FYI to you. It's nothing against Miller. I've got a new outfit that I'm going to send information out. His name is Jeff Hart from Appr Solutions. And they developed automated solutions to streamline and automate their apprenticeship programs across the state. He's working with 4 or 5 or 6 locals in the US, maybe 1 in Canada. He's supposed to streamline ironworker apprenticeship, JTC recruiting, application, and onboarding process. They got a dispatch module. In any event, I'm going to send this out on listserv. Again, this is just an FYI. Don't think I'm ramming this down your throat. I'm more than happy to send that information as it comes across my desk. So, James, that's all I got. Hope everybody had an enjoyable weekend. And Ann Arbor is just around the corner. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Go ahead, James.
All right. Thank you, Lee. Okay, so we're going to jump to Maddi Stevens with Linked Union. And I know that Quarter works with Linked Union a lot. I don't know if you want to introduce Maddi or if Lee wants to, but I'll turn it over to Quarter to do that. And then we'll let Maddi give a report.
Okay, so yeah, I worked with Linked Union quite a bit, obviously, to set up our Ironworks National Training Fund app. So one thing is I've worked with Linked Union about an OJT, because the ongoing thing that we see a lot of is when we're coming out doing IECPs is everybody's seeing and capturing their OJT hours. So I've worked with Maddi and Steve Jones over there and kind of developed that. So Maddi's going to give us kind of an overview of how it is and how it works and how it's going to benefit your program. And if your local is already working with Linked Union as a local app, you can request to have them put that in your members profile, which is going to help out a lot. So she has already put it in the Ironworker NTF app. So if you have that, you might as well go ahead and get your phone and look at that app and open it up. She can walk you right through it. Anything like that, I'll drop it over to Maddi, let her introduce herself a little bit more and start with what she has to present.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for the introduction. I'm Maddi, and I'm just going to walk you through the OJT feature that we have built for the mobile app. So like Jason said, if your local is using the mobile app, this is something that we can turn on for you. And I'm going to need to just share my screen.
You should be co-host, Maddi, so you should have the option there.
Okay, perfect. Can everyone see my screen here?
Looks good on my end.
Okay, perfect. So if you're in the IWNTF app and you hit this member tools button, it will take you to an option to select on the job training hours. And from here, you can submit OJT hours. This verbiage that you see up top is completely customizable. So we can put whatever verbiage you want in that section up above. And then we can also add each local's pay scale. So if you hit this little information button, it will show your pay scale. And this is obviously going to be different for every local, but I'll meet with each of you to get this set up for your local so that it adds up properly. And then as you report your hours, the total accumulated hours will show, and you'll also be able to view past reported hours in this OJT status section here. So there is a tutorial video. If you were to hit that tutorial button, that video would play, but I'm just going to walk you through it. So if I select new OJT here, I'm going to select my employer. So let's just say ABLS Rebar is my employer. And then I'm going to select the month I'm wanting to report for. So I'm going to leave it as May, and I'll then hit next. Now I'll select the day I'm wanting to report my hours for. So I'm just going to start with the first. I'll tap on the first, and then it's going to give me the ability to start reporting. So if I hit this little info button, it gives me a list of all the different skills or crafts. So if I'm wanting to report for structural, I'll leave it as work process number 1. And then I'll select how many hours I worked for that process on that day. And then I can add another. I hit that info button again. 2 is reinforcing. So work process number 2, reinforcing. If I worked 4 hours in that skill, I can also continue to add for the rest of that day, whatever craft and however many hours. If you want to repeat this same report through the week, you can check this report through week. And then if you hit save, you'll see it adds that same report for each day. You can also select, I have 0 hours to report, and then it'll ask you why. You select other reason, it gives you the option to type in the reason why you have no hours to report for that day. And then down below, it shows an overall report. So how many hours have been reported for each work process for the entire month, and then gives you a grand total at the end. If you hit save, oops, you can see my report has been started, but I haven't finished it. If I tap on it, it'll take me back into that same month where I can then continue to report. When I'm done reporting for the month, I'll hit next, and then it gives me the option to have an apprentice report. So the apprentice would sign attesting that the hours they're reporting here are accurate to their knowledge. Check that little box. And then at this point, they can provide it to their employer to leave them feedback. So we'll just say excellent, excellent, excellent. The employer can also leave comments if they would like to. You would then put the employer's name or whoever is verifying the hours. So I'll just put my name. And then the employer would have the ability to put their signature as well. And then also check that what is being submitted is accurate to their knowledge. And then the last step would be to submit the hours. Then it just gives you a confirmation before submitting. If everything looked good, you're ready to submit, you'll hit that submit button. And now there's a back end portion of it. So the app is built out in a back end software. And I'm going to share what the back end looks like now. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the back end where the app is built. The only portion you would need to use to see the reported hours is going to be this on the job training hours section. So if you click on this little arrow and select entries, it's going to show you all of the hours that have been submitted. So since I just submitted the hours through the app, you can see my entry here. If you click this little eyeball, it's going to give you a calendar breakdown of all of the hours that I submitted for the month. And then it'll give you a general summary, and you can see what the member submitted through the apprentice evaluation or report. From here, you can also print. So it'll download it to your computer and then allow you to print the report. And you can also hit this little pencil and it'll allow you to make changes to this report as well. So once it's submitted, it's going to sit in this for review section. If you click on the arrow next to the status, you can move it to approved, and it will then reflect as approved in the app for the member as well. And you can search through these reports. So as they're submitted, if you just needed to look at a certain member's submissions, you would just search for their name here and you would only be able to view what they have submitted so far. There's a little bit more that goes into building out the feature. So I have had to add the employers, and this is something that we would work together to do. So I would just have you provide me with a list of all the signatory contractors that the members would need to report hours for. And as I add them here, it then gives that option for them to select that employer in the employer section of the user interface of the app. As well as the work processes. So these are customizable. This is just what I added for the sample, but if we needed to change these up, these are customizable as well. And then that pay rate that I had showed at the beginning, this is where you would build that section out. And again, it might look a little bit intimidating, but it's something we would do together, collaborate, and I would help you with. So that really the only thing you're having to do is view the hours that the members are submitting and approve or reject them if they need to be rejected for some reason. But that's the gist of the feature. I'm going to put a link in the chat if you guys are interested in having me set this up for you. Fill out that form and then I'll reach out and follow up and see how we can get this built out for your local. But Jason, that's pretty much everything I have to go over. I don't know if you want to open it up for questions. I can also just reach out to everyone individually who's interested in using it if it's too much.
So I would like to make a couple comments. So this would actually, the members generally have this, and this is a feature that's put into the regular membership app that maybe is already there for, Doc over there at 417 or Pete and 512 or Doug if they're using it over in their area. So the students can go in there and log all these hours, and on your back end, when you're looking for advancements, you can make sure that they're tracking it. And we kind of can do away with some of these yellow books or these other features that we're constantly chasing these guys down saying, hey, are the hours there? Are the hours there? At least this way, it's one step. They already have their phone anyways. So it's easy to do during their lunchtime or something like that. So what other questions? I seen one come up. It was And a coordinator pull a report for a 4-year. What does that mean, Mike, exactly?
So their totals for the from first all the way to fourth, would they be able to, so when they become a JIW, all that would be total, they wouldn't have to do anything?
So it wouldn't include past reports, but like, let's say a first year apprentice starts reporting his hours today, if you had it set up, yeah, in 4 years, you would be able to look back and see how many hours they've reported in total. And also it breaks it down individually by each work process.
Jason, sorry.
Yeah, all good stuff here, Maddie. It looks awesome. Couple questions I have in relation to once the guys submit the report on the back end, does any of this information automatically update to the tracking system, or is that still a manual process that we would have to enter ourselves?
That would be a manual process. I'll answer that for right off the bat.
$1 million question right there. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, so you can download a report. I don't know if you have the ability to upload like a spreadsheet into that software, but if you can, that would be achievable through the back end.
All right, sweet. Any other questions for Maddi and Linked Union or Quarter? All right, good stuff. I'm glad to see that come out. Thank you, Maddi. I appreciate your presentation.
Hey, I have a
Quarter?
question for Maddi. I'm sorry, I was having a hard time unlocking my audio.
Oh, there you go.
This
Sean.
is Sean from 550. Maddi, currently you and I'd worked on that system so that way I get an email generated. Would it still generate an email every time a apprentice submits a report, or it just goes in there and you have to pull it off the app?
It's not set up to send you a notification. So I think the way we have it set up in your app is going to be with JotForm and not the in-app feature, and that's why you're getting that email. I can ask and see if we can create it or set it up so that you can receive an email, but at the moment that feature is not available. So you just have to check it daily.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right, good question, Sean. Anybody else?
I think Mr. Rob Barker had one.
Yeah, Maddi, I had a question about looking up members. When we send out push notifications or something, we have to go by their book number. Is it going to come to where we can locate them by their name instead of their book number?
It won't, just because not everyone's name is unique. So we have to use it by book number because that is the unique identifier for each member.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Mark?
Mark.
Yeah, I have one quick question. What's the problem with using the hours that are submitted to the fund office? Because obviously that's submitted by the contractor, and that's obviously more legit than an apprentice maybe adding more hours than they actually did. You know what I mean?
So if you look in your standards, and I don't look in your, I haven't seen your standards, but if you look in your standards, there's certain on-the-job training hours that they have to complete their apprenticeship. So they got to have so many hours in structural, so many hours in reinforcing, so many hours in architectural, so many hours in welding. And in your standards, it says that those hours will be reported. So if technically, if you're pulling your trust fund hours, it doesn't show that they are working in these different areas of the trade. So you cannot prove that they are sufficient in that, because it just gives an overall hours.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Good question. Yeah. I mean, it is good that is a good tool to use to verify, if the apprentice is padding pretty heavily. So I do like that as a tool for sure. Anybody got anything else? Okay, cool. All right. Thank you, Maddi. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah. Jason, you got anything else on the app or anything?
No.
Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Hey.
So Go ahead. Did somebody say
I
something?
just said thank you to Maddi.
No problem.
All right. So I just wanted to cover a couple things real quick, and I just got two items, and then we'll jump over to Jason and Bart and Sampson. So we've had this like massive interest and expansion in kind of this mass timber industry. I've had a lot of JATC programs and local unions reach out to me and ask me about mass timber training, mass timber materials and resources. Some of you in this webinar right now, we've been working with to get you the mock-ups and get the training and stuff involved. And there's a lot of moving components to this thing. So I just want to kind of cover a few things today to maybe, kind of clarify some things. So right now we have about 22, 23 local JATCs across North America, including Canada. We've actually got a couple up there who are working towards this, who are implementing the mass timber training in their apprenticeship programs. And so a couple things on this training. There is a curriculum space. There's a classroom with presentation materials and things like that. And then you've got this mock-up. So there's two components. The actual training is a certain amount of classroom and a certain amount of hands-on, just like all of our other trainings are. We recently went through last year and developed the new Ironworker Green Energy curriculum that is available on the LMS. There are books downloadable and stuff too. And part of that training, there is a mass timber module, and that mass timber module is intended to be utilized by your apprenticeship programs if you are going to implement this mass timber training at your training center. Where that curriculum came from was a company called Woodworks, and they got a grant fund to develop training based on mass timber to help kind of promote the industry. So the National Training Fund partnered with them last year. We got access to this curriculum, the drawings for this mock-up and all of this stuff. The mock-ups are about $14,000 for the small mock-up, which is an 8x8 by 12 foot high single bay. It's got the columns, beams, floor panel, wall panel, roof panel, ceiling panel, deck, if you will, and a little staircase that comes with it. It's $14,500 before shipping and stuff like that. They do have a larger mock-up, a 2-bay one. It's about 30 grand before shipping. It's 16 feet wide by 12 feet tall. So it's basically just a dual bay. It's got a little more components to it. Most of our programs are going with the smaller 8x8 mock-up. Part of the training that we basically just used the Woodworks curriculum and just kind of developed it more specific kind of to ironworkers. And that's what you'll see on the LMS and in the curriculum that we developed. We started to get requests for a train the trainer. What we thought is as Woodworks provided the curriculum and we got the mock-ups into the training center, we had our apprenticeship programs, our coordinators, training directors reaching out to us saying, wow, it'd be really nice if we had a train the trainer on this. A lot of us aren't really experts in the industry. So as that demand grew, Lee directed us to kind of develop a train the trainer course. So that is basically completed. It's about 90% complete right now. We've been working with Michael Sampson and Hannah and Woodworks to kind of get that dialed in. It's going to be a 24-hour train the trainer course. So it's going to be 3 days, just like our scaffolding, our lead silica, all that stuff. We just made it the same. And one of the prerequisites for that train the trainer for all of you coordinators and your instructors is completing that mass timber module on the LMS. It should only take a few hours to go through it, but if you're going to come take the train the trainer, when you register for the course, Hannah will send the link out to that LMS and you'll go through that material, because that's what's going to be required for the 8-hour end user training that you're going to be doing back at your training centers. That first train the trainer, let me pull my calendar up here. I believe it is October 22nd through 24th in Henderson, Nevada. And I know Hannah's just getting ready and Mike are just getting ready to shoot out that notice to everybody. I'm assuming that course is going to fill up super fast. So for those of you who are maybe kind of on the east side of the country, we are going to be looking at hosting more Train the Trainers at Ironworkers Local 5 and Ironworkers Local 63. So we should have those coming up. We're not exactly sure on the date. So if you miss this first one, and you don't even have the mock-ups and stuff really yet, I wouldn't get too in a hurry about it, because we will be offering more Train the Trainers as we move down the line. If you're interested in getting the mock-up and the training, you can just reach out to me directly. I'll shoot out a follow-up email when we're done here. And we try to consolidate the ordering of the mock-ups. So Vaughan, the company that we use to fabricate the mock-ups, we want to make sure that we're not wasting their time just kind of onesie twosie. We want to put about 4 or 5 locals together and put kind of a bulk order so they can get them in their production line and get them knocked out for us and get them shipped out. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of, as you guys reach out to me, I'm just kind of piling everybody up a little bit and shooting a big email across to Vaughan and to get that ordering going. The billing and shipping process will be through directly through you, your JATC, your trust, however it works out. Directly with Vaughan. The National Training Fund won't really play a part in that. And then all of the curriculum and stuff will come from us. So when you reach out to us, we'll get the order placed. We'll get you guys the curriculum, the prints, the drawing, and then you can get signed up for the Train the Trainer course. One of the reasons that we're doing it this way, and people often ask like, well, why is it kind of structured like that? With the grant funding for Woodworks, one of the requirements is that they report nationally how many people are actually capitalizing on this training. So one of the things that we did is decide to go with the LMS space. Lee's looking at a national contract right now with Woodworks so that you guys don't individually have to report. Every coordinator doesn't have to report directly to Woodworks how many people they're putting through this course, and have a contract agreement between Woodworks and your local JATC. We're potentially just going to have a National Training Fund agreement with Woodworks. And then when you guys register your apprentices, your journey workers or your instructors in this Train the Trainer or in the 8-hour end user, we'll be able to pull those reports and provide that information to Woodworks directly. So that'll alleviate you guys from having to do any of that work. And then we'll be able to have all the curriculum on the bookstore and everything like that. We won't have to deal with Woodworks in that capacity. So I'll kind of stop there and just see if we have any questions. And if you got questions, you can throw them in the chat too. But if anybody has any questions, around the curriculum, the mock-up, the process, the industry, I'd love to take some questions. One of the things that I would like you guys to realize, which a lot of people don't, and I know Impact's kind of getting in on this now, is that Woodworks, not only does the curriculum that they designed cover the 8-hour end user training that you guys are going to be doing, it also covers kind of the Train the Trainer aspect of it. But there's a whole nother component to that Woodwork curriculum that you guys are going to get that is based on helping your signatory contractors understand how to perform that work and bid that work so they can capture that market. I mean, we can create the workforce, but if our signatory contractors aren't going after this work and being able to capture the jobs, then it's kind of useless at some point. So I want you guys to know that there is those resources there. And as you go to push and leverage your local unions to kind of have you implement this training in your JATCs, that's a really good selling point. Hey, look, we have more resources than just end user training here. And they also have a whole bank of trainings that will cover engineers and architects too. So if you have big signatory contractors who have their in-house architects and engineers, there's resources for them as well. So, I can share. Yes, I will. In the follow-up email, I can. I will show you guys pictures of the mock-up. I'll get you. It's just super simple: 8 foot by 8 foot footprint, 12 feet tall, just single bay, 4 columns, deck panel, ceiling panels, little staircase, and a wall panel. So basically, like think about precast columns and beams. It's pretty simple, just different connections. But I will get all that stuff out to you guys. Let's see. Let me read this question. Can you comment? Oh, yeah, good. So Jeff Norris just messaged me. We got a couple locals in Canada who are looking into this training. You do not have to get the mock-up from Vaughan. Vaughan is located north of Spokane, Washington, and you're going to be required to pay that shipping. So if you can find a local fabricator in your area, you're going to have all the fabrication drawings so that you could reach out locally and have that fabricated locally and maybe save yourself some money in shipping, maybe support a local signatory fabricator, something of that nature. You will be able to do that. So the question is kind of in the Canadian space, you know, to put anything across the border, man, you pay some heavy duty fees. I am sure of it. So that's definitely going to need to be a consideration of our Canadian apprenticeship programs for sure. So I would advise, as I have the coordinators who have reached out to me from Canada to try to find somebody locally. So, and I can assist with that a little bit. Another question: can district councils get an order together for each? Yeah, absolutely. If you reach out, you know, if some of you, multiple JTC programs in a district council work together, you can definitely, the training director or the district council president can just say, hey, James, I'd like to order this many mock-ups. This is where they're all going. Here's the billing information. Just deal with us directly. We could definitely facilitate that type of relationship for sure. Mike just posted some of the prerequisites. Yeah, the prerequisite course is the LMS Green Energy 4-hour mass timber. Bart will talk about it here in a second. He's got a self-paced thing going that we'll get into. And then one last thing, I see Kevin's comment there. I really want to kind of emphasize those services that I talked about for your contractor. And I know Kevin's really committed to helping our local unions and our signatory contractors in the areas capture that market share. So if your local union is interested in that aspect, make sure you're reaching out to your impact representative. I work with John Kanji over here on the West Coast, and they will really help facilitate that connection between Woodworks and your local unions, business managers, business agents, and all of the resources that Impact has to help our signatory contractors. Okay, I've gone a little bit long. Any questions on that? I think I answered everything in the chat. Any questions on mass timber, guys? I know that was a lot. I'll follow up with an email and debrief. Nothing? Okay. Perfect. All right, that's all I really wanted to talk about. I am gonna turn it over to Jason Corder for National Training Fund report. If you got any questions about any of that stuff, you can email, give me a call. I'll be available. Mr. Corder.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch base on the NTF, the WCP and stuff like that. So we've, with Lee Worley and Jeff North stuff, we got the welding committee back together and a little bit of back and forth with American Welding Society, the committee, and Lee Worley was really pushing AWS into holding back that QC 47 away from our ATFs. Went back and forth quite a bit. Lee really had you guys back, and we were able to push it back to January of 2025 and making sure that all of our CWIs had that WPQ1. But that is in effect right now. I've talked to our IT department, and they're slowly going to be starting to add people into the WPQ1. So if you have any instructors or CWIs that have that WPQ1, continue to send them into our office and we'll upload them in there, and we'll slowly add people, but it will not become mandatory until the end of this year. Another thing that we've been working on is going to a digital membership card. So after the end of this year, we're going to go away from printing cards and mailing them out, because we mail out hundreds of these cards and 25% of them get shipped back here to the office because a member has moved. So the members will be able to log into the ironworkers.org member portal. If you guys haven't seen that, go look at that after this webinar, into the ironworkers.org, where the member login is. find that, there'll be a section in there where the members can find their certifications. And it'll say view for any of their welding things. Click on that. A PDF, secured PDF will pop up. Out of that, the member will be able to save it on their phone or their device, or also have the option to email it. So if you're out there working and Mark Bono was a certified welding inspector on the job site and said, hey, I need to see your welding certs, Jason. I could pull up my app real quick, press log in, do it, and then say, here it is. It puts it right into my main email that's associated with that phone. Say, Mark, put in your email address you want me to send it to, and it'll send that CWI, the current welding certification at that point. I'm not saying that we'll never print cards again, but we're going to try to push away from printing the cards. It's a giant expense, and it seems like the membership would benefit if they were just using digital cards. That is what I have on that at the moment. Does anybody have any questions? So I'm sure there's going to be 100 on this. Mr. Wiley.
Just in regards to the WPQ1 endorsement, once we receive those certifications from the AWS, you want those sent to your office, or where exactly should we send those, Jason?
You can send them to the WCP at email address.
Okay.
I'd appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're having great success with that course. There's always a little hiccups. I think the post test is where we're running into hiccups and stuff, but we're still doing good, and we're having these online courses, and I think that the online courses are going to be just as good. Any other questions?
Hi, Steve Taverny, Local 33 in Rochester. My question's regarding weld continuity. Our members are being told that they can't renew by sending their continuity book right into WCP anymore.
That's incorrect.
Okay,
So
they're getting emails that are saying that they're not allowed to do that anymore. Our business manager just got one, as a matter of fact, with his attempt to renew his A1 certification.
can you forward that to me, please?
Will do.
That is not correct. So you can still send them in through WCP like there always have been. Some of the emails, if the coordinator, if they come to you, you can upload them. And if you upload them, it does a little faster. The turnaround time for them to receive a card and for the staff here to update that is generally time reduced, but members still can do it because there's some locals, the membership is so great. If the coordinator had to do it alone, he'd have to almost put a full-time staff person on as well. Any other questions or comments, concerns? I don't see any, so I'm going to hand it
I
back
got
over.
one.
Where
Hey,
you
when
at?
are we gonna change the picture on this WCP? It's got like looks like some iron workers from China on there.
That is I will look into that, Mike.
Nothing against Chinese iron workers, but it looks like it was done and, there's no stickers on their hard hats. They're just,
It might have been, Mike. So
okay.
you got to remember our IT department are not field iron workers, so they just maybe Google a free photograph and see iron workers, and that's an image showed up, and they thought, oh, that looks pretty good. They did it.
Okay. All right.
All right, James, back to you.
All right. Thanks, Quarter. Appreciate you, buddy. Good stuff. Okay, let's jump to, let's see. We don't have Tannehill here today. Like I said, he's on the road. I don't know if Bart had prepared a report specifically, but Bart, if you could, at a minimum, just talk about the status of the prerequisite for the mass timber training and what that's going to look like for not only the apprentice and journey workers, but also our coordinators and instructors, kind of where we're at with that. When do we expect that to kind of jump into action or be available as we move towards the train the trainers.
Sure, I'm happy to, James. So the book is out there now on the LMS. It's in with the other reference manuals. So if everybody's on the reference manual enrollment, so all you gotta do is look down the list, and the entire green energy series is out there, and they all start with G for green energy series, and you'll see one for mass timber, and that's the one you want. And then we're currently developing a self-paced course for this for mass timber. We plan on having that ready, I guess it's October, but hopefully before then, because we'll be testing it. And yeah, that's in development right now, so we should have that all ready to go. And I think it's a really great thing. Rick Sullivan's been working with us and with us on this, and Rick, he's a big reason why we're as far as we are with a lot of our materials, our course materials, and he's got that great voice and great writing style we all know. And yeah, we're excited to have this available to you.
Perfect. Anything else, Bart? Anybody got any questions for Bart? Mark's raising his hand.
It's not really for Bart. It's just in general. Is the mass timber going to be mandatory for part of a core curriculum now for mixed locals or anything like that? Or is it just going to be?
No,
Okay.
as needed.
Perfect. Okay. Mr. Rafter, I see your hand up.
Morning, everybody. Hey, James, on the mass timber, after the apprentices or journeymen complete that module, is there going to be a qualification that is going to be issued through the ATS to where it's going to be viewable on their QR reader?
I believe that was the intention when we developed the class, that it would show up. And I know that we're still kind of developing those last things, so I'm not sure if that's actually been implemented or not. I don't know if Bart, can you speak to that, how that's going to look? Or
Not yet, but that's my understanding as well. We'll have that set up so that'll show up for people.
Perfect. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. And that was kind of the goal. So anything else? Okay, cool. All right, awesome. Okay, we are going to jump over to Michael Sampson, see what he's got going on in his world, and then we'll close this thing up and get everybody out of here. Mr. Sampson.
Just reposting the link to the calendar that was mentioned a couple times, the Regional Training Center calendar. Just FYI, we have had some updates. So we did add 3 online WPQ1 courses. Again, those are online. You still have to register for them, just as when the links go out. Probably posting a Regional Training Center update for you coordinators this week, so that link will be at the top of your inbox. But the calendar does not currently have the mass timber on there, but the link is live. If you go to the link, you can register through it'll be on the link that Hannah on her Google Doc form, that mass timber, as well as the WPQ1 courses that we're looking, that we added. So.
And those WPQ1 courses that we added, Mike, are I think there was 3 or 4. They are online, just so everybody knows. That is virtual Zoom.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So that's kind of all I got for Regional Training Center stuff. We're always looking to expand the training and stuff. So maybe next year we'll be coming up with some additional training, but it's all good stuff.
Perfect. Anybody got any questions for Mike? And just as a reminder that first Train the Trainer for mass timber is October 22nd through the 23rd in Henderson, Nevada. You can register for that course now. I haven't checked. I'm assuming it's going to fill up quick. And like I said, if you don't want to travel all the way to the West Coast, we will be looking at doing sequential trainings at Local 5 and Local 63 as well, either later this year or earlier next year. So we'll have that information come out. So, but for those of you who have the mock-up already in-house and are ready to rock and roll on this, I know there's a lot in California vicinity and some up in the Pacific Northwest. That's going to be the class you're going to want to get into, is that Train the Trainer in Henderson. So everybody else, you're more than happy to wait till the next ones. Any questions for Mike or any of the reports today? Feel
Just
free.
FYI, James, I just checked, the mass timber already has 10 people signed up for it. I don't know what the max, I don't know what your capacity is, but there is 10 signed up for the mass timber.
Okay, perfect. I think we capped it at 15. So we got room for 5 more. So you jump in there and rock and roll, or like I said, you can wait for the later ones. Anything else, guys? This is really kind of not only just us reporting to you, but having a conversation if you've got anything. So any general Q&A, open the floor up to anybody. Anybody getting any grant funding out there, kicking butt, doing cool stuff? I know you are. All right. Well, seeing none, I'm going to turn it back over to Lee to kind of close us out a little bit. See if Lee, you got anything else you want to cover after everything we talked about today? Or are you good?
Forgive me, James. Did you tell him we will possibly have a mass timber mock-up in Michigan this year?
I did not. Good call. We did add an order. Lee got it approved, worked with Kevin and Eric to get that approved. We will have a mock-up potentially. I think more than potentially, it's 99.9%. It's going to be there at Ann Arbor this year. So you guys will be able to go check that out if you want to. So.
And just one other comment for you coordinators that register courses for your instructors. You know, the courses get filled up fast, and the PDC courses, just as an FYI, you do not have to take them in order. So we've got some new instructors that are taking some of the higher, PDC 7, 9, or 10, or 11, or something like that. That's perfectly fine. Had a few more calls or emails this year regarding that. So don't have to take them in order. I did when I was young and went down that route, but not necessary. And finally, Rick Sullivan and through the director of reinforcing, Mike Rellian, they put together a rebar foreman course. They did a pilot course a few weeks ago. I believe it was in Indianapolis, and Mike wanted me to let you guys know there will be possibly in 2025 a rebar foreman course in Michigan as possible, and also maybe a mass timber course. I'll get with James and we'll talk about that. But that's all I got, and another great webinar, and I'll have James do the final farewells, and thank you very much for joining us, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Lee. Any questions, guys? I see in chat right there, Local 7 just received another $300,000 for offshore wind training. Absolutely fantastic. If you guys want any information, look at Bart. He's got fireworks going on his screen. That's cool. If you guys have any, if you want any information or assistance in the grant funding space, I didn't cover it a bunch today, but we got a couple minutes. We did apply for the National Training Fund, submitted an application for $3.9 million to the Department of Labor to basically create the Ironworkers Direct Entry Pre-Apprenticeship program nationally. If awarded the funds, we'll be looking to host 50 pre-apprenticeship cohorts, 2-week cohorts over the 4-year grant cycle. We got a lot of letters of support and letters of commitment from your district council presidents, coordinators, business managers. So think about that. We should find out next month if we got awarded or not. If in fact we do get awarded the $3.9 million, we'll be reaching out to you guys to host these pre-apprenticeship cohorts, 10 people per cohort, 2-week pre-apprenticeship. We've got all the curriculum that you can adjust to fit your local area and needs. There's a bunch of money in there to find community-based organizations around your program to help you recruit. You can pull the individuals off your own application list. And not only that, you get about, I don't know, 50 grand worth of tools and wages to conduct the cohort. So not only do you offset the cost of your intake, but you get some pretty cool equipment, tools, and material for not only your training center, but your apprentices, your instructor wages are covered, administrative costs, things like that. And you kind of get hooked up with a bunch of community-based organizations and resources for your apprentices to ensure that they're successful in your program. I think some of the supportive services go like 6 months into the registered apprenticeship. So we know that we lose 50% of our apprentices within the first year. So this is just an attempt to kind of help that retention. You guys spend a lot of money and time getting people into your programs. Let's keep them. So anyway, any information I can help you, let me know. Okay. All right. Anything else, guys? Okay. Well, hey, I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. I hope you have a great week, and reach out to any of us if you need anything. And that being said, we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you. See ya.
Thanks.